Yes, we're live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast with Earth Key English. My name is Gianluigi Nicolosi, and I'm one of the co-founders and teachers here at Earth Key English. So, if you're watching us now, welcome. Please feel free to comment any questions and share this video as we go along. All right. Tonight, we have a very special guest. My dear friend Dylan has come to teach you and explain to you about his physics teaching here in Vietnam. So, welcome Dylan. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. Good to be here. Must say I'm a little bit nervous coming in, but I mean, it's just a conversation as usual.
Yeah,
so.
man, no nerves. We're just gonna have a little talk like we normally do anyway.
Like it.
All right.
Yeah.
So cool, man. So tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? Where did you study?
Yeah, sure. So I am from South Africa, Cape Town, West Coast, Best Coast.
Yes.
I studied at Stellenbosch for a year, and I completed my studies at UWC.
Cool.
I was actually not going to get into teaching at first.
Mm-hmm.
I was hopefully going to get into medicine.
Oh, okay. Why the sudden change?
No. Because I completely messed up my first year.
As I think a lot of us did during that time.
And because of that, I really suffered in maths and physics, which for me was a bit of a shock coming from doing very well in those subjects in high school and then hitting university levels. And after that, my dad kind of told me, well, you're not doing nothing for a year. He said, because he's a teacher as well. So he said something safe, something that's going to be needed and whatever. So I was like, and I first had that, no one gets to tell me what to do with my life kind of thinking as a young person does. And then I started again, but I couldn't get into studies because of just they're quite selective. And
I also failed to get into studies. I tried to get in for engineering, and they were very, very picky with engineering.
When I like my math mark was atrocious at the end, so they were like, no, there's no chance you're getting back in.
Oh no, man.
But I had like a little bit of a vendetta against the subject. So I went back to UWC and I started there again. I struggled a bit with my maths again and then eventually succeeded. But we sort of, in the last couple of years, you dropped the subject for pedagogy, and that was quite interesting. And then I did some teaching, what do you call it? When you're studying and you have to go and just do your hours.
Practical.
Basically.
Like your practicals, Where did you do your practicals?
A couple of schools. I did one at my primary school, which was nice to see again. It was weird.
I can imagine. I often go back and visit my school whenever I go back home as well. I do actually. I went to the same school from grade 1 all the way to matric. And it was quite a small school, so we became quite close.
A little different. Nice. But yeah, my old high school, a high school near it, which is in a little more of a dodgy area. And then straight out of uni, I taught in, I don't know if you know Cape Town very well, but...
I recently was in Cape Town for a while, and I had some friends of ours, I think you know them as well, Luke and Sydney. Show me around, so I got to know Cape Town quite well recently.
The first high school I taught at was in Kraaifontein. Which is also
quite a intense
dodgy area. And the second one was in East River, like near my dad's school. It was a primary school, a no-fee school. So these kids are, living in some of the worst situations, but they don't pay for the schooling, and they get like fed there and stuff. And it was quite an eye-opener to our country. From there, I've come over here. I've been here for 3 years now, teaching a mixture of maths and physics and science at primary school level as well. And I've just recently moved up to the big leagues
Is
and teaching physics at the highest level I've taught it for a while.
Oh wow!
So
It's quite challenging for you now as well. Do you feel like you have to relearn a little bit as well?
yes, but at the same time, it has kind of made me feel, especially with the whole lockdown and coronavirus, it's made me feel like I'm accomplishing something again. And
Okay,
like I'm
great.
actually working towards something that's my goal.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the goal is to so like I didn't want to be in teaching at first, but as I went through it, the psychology aspect and child developmental psychology and just like the actual act of teaching kind of gets to you, and you kind of realize you want in.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, I really wanted to be in teaching, but then those 2 years in schools in SA after I graduated were tough.
I can imagine. Yeah. What would you say has been the biggest difference between the South African schools and the schools in Vietnam?
Oof. Well, it's a difficult thing to say, right? Because I've taught at a couple of schools in Vietnam as well, and I've seen a lot of the same things here as I do back home, and I also get why, because it's mostly background stuff that's like bubbling up.
Yeah.
So I'd say the biggest difference here is I feel like they are more invested in their own educations.
Okay.
Some of them have different motivations, but like they're quite dedicated in that aspect. So you can, in essence, give them a topic and they would go and research that, and by the next lesson they'd be able to tell you something about it. Whereas back home, it's kind of like kids are just
waiting to be spoon-fed what exactly everything that they
I'm
want.
like, fair. You were sent here. I didn't. You didn't want to be here or whatever. But I see more of a want for knowledge here.
Yeah. It's something I've also noticed in my experience of teaching in Vietnam and even in China as well, is they do tend to have more of an internal motivation to learn and to build their own skills as well.
Yeah.
Which surprised me a lot, and it's very interesting to see and also contrast compared to the students that I worked with back home as well.
But yeah, I can't really complain. I've got amazing students where I'm at. So,
yeah, awesome. So what's the future looking like then for you from here?
So that's what I was talking about, the goal.
Yeah. Let's get back onto your goal.
Yeah, it's supposed to be something to do with teaching, but at the same time, I couldn't do it back home at the time because like it was rough. And I think I just needed some more experience just to grow a bit. So I was like, okay, what is the plan? What would I like? And I knew I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to do something in teaching. And I had been suggested to check out Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like...
Yes. I've got a few friends teaching in Dubai, actually, at the moment.
And then I spoke, same, and then I spoke to a couple of them, and they told me, pros and cons and whatever. And I was like, I just don't know if that's the lifestyle that they were describing. I'm like, that's not exactly the lifestyle that I was really
keen on trying,
And then a friend of mine was teaching in Thailand, and a couple of friends in Southeast Asia, and a couple are... So the pros for, what's his name, was for...
quick there. If you're watching this now, and you're an ESL teacher, quickly type in the comment box, where are you teaching right now? Or not even an ESL teacher, any kind of teacher. Where are you teaching right now? Sorry to interrupt there, man.
No.
We've got to get them online as well, eh?
Like it.
Please continue, carry on.
So I've just... I basically followed a friend here and fell in love with the place first off.
Oh, nice.
But the plan is to eventually go to a couple of places, incorporate some more skills, mainly about how their schooling system works and what works for different places and what doesn't. Because the plan is to check out a few different things, and especially places like Switzerland and Netherlands, and
it's
those
so beautiful out there, man.
but also they're number one in like I think it's literacy and something else. But I just want to check out different schooling systems and hopefully take some of that back home.
Yeah, there's an interesting schooling system. I can't remember if it's Norway or Finland. It's one of the Scandinavian countries where they've adopted the 4-day 4-day work week for students as well as cutting out all sorts of homework to give students time to actually play and develop their
But you see, then it's like that would work there, but
yeah, exactly. You can't. I don't know if it would work in South Africa.
But yeah, I kind of agree with some of it. So I would like to find some sort of balance that works for, that serves more than just myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the goal of all of us as teachers is not serving ourselves, we're serving our students.
And like I'm just really interested about like the things that you're doing and a lot of people are doing to include more people, create more of a community. I think that's very needed. Like just talking from when I just walked into a classroom.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had studied for this and like I had all the techniques or whatever, but like I have learned immensely.
Yeah.
And if you're not afforded that chance, then you just keep, running into the same wall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice to be able to, like, as you develop yourself, share that development with your students as well, because that itself can inspire them. But if they can see that the person that's teaching them is himself still trying to teach himself and learn, that's going to like create a sense of self-teaching within themselves.
Being the lifelong learner, and that's one of the things that I appreciate about working here is like, I mean, I had a lot more of an emotional connection with some of my kids back home, like working at the no-fee school and whatever. However, just like the kids here, their motivation for it, I'm like, I wish I was, raised in that kind of culture in a way. Not necessarily raised in it, just sort of that I adopted some of those earlier.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, it's the same. I think it was only maybe 5 years ago that I suddenly clicked and wanted to start like really getting into like learning and building my own skills and everything. And it was only after that I realized, like, excuse my language, shit, I should have started this. I should have been like this at school. I should have been like this at university. Can you imagine how much more I would have learned if I had this mindset that I have now?
Agreed. I fell into that trap of being a decent student at school without really trying.
Yes, me
getting
too,
those A's, and
me
it's like it's not a big problem.
And you thought you could just cruise by university, and that first year hits you, and you're like,
literally.
Oh, hi, hectic.
I could have saved so much money if I just had my head in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, completely, absolutely, completely, man.
But these are the actions that shape us.
Exactly, these are the lessons we learn that make us who we are today.
No, we need those.
Yeah. If you've ever had a lesson like this happen to you, feel free to share it if you like.
It helps the community trust.
It does help the community trust, and it also, speaking about your own past, helps you develop and get over those things as a person as well. I got into teaching from the psychological side of it. I studied psychology at university and did my honors there and really enjoyed developmental psych. And so when I started teaching and working with children, that's when I really zoned in on becoming not just a person that delivers an ESL product or an English product or a leadership course or something, but someone who is in themselves an educator, because then they can understand how saying something to a mind can affect that mind.
And also just saying it doesn't mean you're teaching.
Exactly. Just because you say it doesn't mean you know exactly what's going on. Which is quite interesting, to be honest. Like I said, I had the vendetta against math, so mine was more about like conquering those
the subjects, maths, physics, chemistry. Chemistry can just leave me alone.
Chemistry is what kind of made me step away from engineering at university.
But yeah, it was once we got into the child developmental psychology, and then I started to see my own growth, and like where I was at as a person and why I was being such an idiot.
Yes.
That helped me significantly. So I was like, okay, that got me more into affecting. If you can get that thought earlier,
exactly. Man. If you can get that
useful.
mindset earlier, in terms of training yourself and to inspire other people to do the same thing, the world would be a lot better place.
No, agreed.
Yeah, man. So, carry on.
No, I've just been so impressed with a colleague. He stays in the same building, but over Corona time, like everyone, had the memes about if you didn't learn a skill, then what did you really do? He full on learned to code. He did like online courses and stuff, and he's coding pretty simple programs now as well.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Very impressed.
Yeah. Earth Key English is a baby of Corona as well, so welcome everyone.
Nice.
Welcome. I know, dude.
Okay, good. There's some good that came out of this.
There's some
nonsense.
good, yeah, no, definitely, man. But yeah, even then, a lot of the schools were working online and stuff. Did you have to go online?
Yeah. So we did the online thing, but for us it was pretty easy. Being at a higher grade, it's it was a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
Like I really wondered about like people doing kindergarten online. Like, how would that even work?
It does work if you have an entertaining enough screen, to be honest. Yeah.
True. I guess that's also where, when at the higher grades, you don't have to be the entertainer all the time.
Exactly.
You can just be, here's the lesson, learn it, go do this.
Yeah, cheers, bye-bye. Okay, cool. So what is like a day-to-day schedule look like for you? Like, run through a typical day for us.
Well, depends. In school, out of school?
In school.
In school? Yeah. We do general 8 to 5. And like we have the first bit of the morning where it's like usually the younger grades get their stuff done first.
Yeah.
And the first couple of lessons are pretty standard hour and a half lessons. And we've got most of the equipment, so which is really nice is we have a couple of labs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they're pretty well stocked as well. So, if something is a flight of fancy, you can set that up, or you just book labs.
Nice, man.
So I've been having a lot of fun playing with some of the equipment.
I can imagine. Is it an international school you're working at, or a private school?
It's basically a private school.
Okay.
Quite selective and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's interesting,
But
man.
it's
I definitely miss lab work. That was one thing I did miss. From especially when I was studying engineering, I was like you. I did a year of engineering, and at the end of it, I was like, no, I can't do this. I wanted to design cars, but I was like, I can't wrap my head around this math and chemistry and stuff. So let's go do something my brain's doing every day. It's just analyzing people.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a friend of mine also finished in engineering, got a job, earned the big bucks, house, car, everything, and he's just like, where he's living, he's like, I hate this place.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, I also had quite a few friends do the same thing, and then they're like, sweet, I got it, and I'm now an engineer. And I'm stuck here. Which is the nice thing about teaching, is that it's not limited to like certain industries or certain industrial regions of the world. You really can go out and teach everywhere.
And that's the plan. But
yeah,
first I need to build my repertoire, and I want to
build those skills, man. That's at least that within yourself that it's a skill sharing that you're giving the students as well.
Yeah, because I'm definitely going to use it to travel. The plan is to do like Japan, and then go all across, Japan, man. Do Russia as well.
Man, Russia would be very interesting to go teach it. I have a friend of mine who's teaching online to Russian students, and he keeps saying how interesting it is, because they also are very willing to share their culture with them.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is because like being in Vietnam, I've been here for 3 years, and learning Vietnamese has been a real struggle for me.
Me too, actually. Yeah. Guys, it's not the easiest language, so if you can speak
But
Vietnamese,
it's also, I feel like we're used to very different sounds, and because of like South Africa, it goes all the way through the to the
yes.
Oh, I can't even click properly.
Yeah. But if you listen to Vietnamese is similar to Chinese in the sense that it's more of a tonal musical language.
Yeah.
While English and a lot of the Anglo-Saxon and Roman languages and Romanic languages are very short, sharp sounds. I'm an English teacher and I can't even say that. Short, sharp sounds. All combined together to create the word, which is the concept. While in Vietnamese, you only have one syllable for each word.
Yeah, and then your tonality changes it completely.
And there's 9 different ways to say the same word. So I feel you on that one.
The amount of times I thought I was ordering the right thing and then just got like a fish.
Yeah, dude. It's one of the funniest things, man. It's one of the funniest things, man. So do you have any tips or tricks to share with anyone that's teaching physics overseas?
I asked this from a colleague who's well versed, quite a bit older than me as well. I asked him about like going into this new level. Like, is there anything you found that really works that you can tell me about? And he's like, no.
Great advice right there.
No, he gave me fantastic resources, and he is a wonderful just person to be around, and like his excitement is contagious for the subject.
Oh, that's great, actually.
Yeah, so it's perfect. I'll figure it out myself. But he basically also talked about just building rapport, like we talked earlier. Having it feel. I've always thought this was important, and I got a lot of nonsense for it in my first year teaching. To have your students be able to come to you and talk to you about whatever it is, so that they don't feel alienated, so that everyone feels like they're on the same plane. And like, I had a very good relationship with my kids. I had these kids were really bad at math.
Oh, really?
They were really bad at math.
Shame.
So, and I was being honest about my marks and the way I was testing and stuff.
Yeah.
And they could come and talk to me about things happening in their lives at home and stuff. And like, some did confess some things that needed to be sorted out.
Which I agree with you. I think that's an essential part of teaching. Is you need to be able to be there if they need a support.
Yeah. And they worked hard. They came in on Saturdays, like half of the class, and we did grafting to get like, and their marks did improve, but according to the overseer, they did not improve enough.
Yeah.
And I had to. They asked me to fill marks, dude. I was like, what?
No, that's the thing,
That's
man.
not
I
the
feel
way.
like the expectation that a lot of these schools and sometimes even the parents put on these students to achieve without actually taking into account the students' skills themselves.
And
like
not
asking
even
a
skills,
fish
just
to climb a tree.
environment.
Yeah.
Some of these, like back there, some of those kids like do not have the same advantages as others.
Exactly.
So like you need to be understanding of that. You need to be aware of that. Is I feel something that a lot of people miss out on. But as for like tips and tricks for teaching itself, I guess the best thing that I've learned is a proper way of scaffolding the material.
Yes, I think
starting at what they know, doing something where things like missing concepts are there.
Yeah.
Working through a problem together, giving them the problem and prompting, and then like giving them more difficult work increasingly.
Yeah, that's great, man, because that's also using like a gap analysis at the same time.
Exactly.
Which is great, and that really helps you fill in the gaps of their learning in a way. Yeah.
Something a lecturer of mine at university did in like third year, which I really liked because it was like biodiversity in flowers or plants or something.
Cool.
It was a really whack subject, and like the shit you had to learn was very interesting, but like challenging. And I learned it like it was nothing, and it was just because before we started a topic, he'd say like you had to have read through the topic. It's going to be a small test before you start.
Yeah.
Then you'll take that in, he'll mark it during the class while you're going through some stuff. It's like 3 or 5 questions. And at the end, he'll like, okay, here's another test at the end of the class.
Okay.
And then you'll see like your points,
Yeah,
whatever. And then when he's gone on to the next topic, at the end of the topic, he'll give you another test on it. Like,
okay.
So you're always looking back.
You're
at
always
the
looking
old
back
topic.
and reviewing what you've done before
Yeah.
as well. That's
and
excellent.
the work gets increasingly more difficult, and that was like it helped me immensely. And I was at that point I wasn't a good student.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't learned how to learn.
Yeah. Which is essential. I mean, there is really an art to learning in a way. Yeah. Which is something I picked up at university, was how to find information, the right information, quickly and put it together as quick as possible.
When you're left to your own devices and no one's helping you.
Exactly. Amazing things can happen if you try, guys.
Yeah. Dedication.
Man, it's something I often say to my kids, man. Like, as teachers, we don't want, like, obviously we want you to be great at what you're doing, but that's not our goal. Our goal is, have you tried? Have you actually just tried doing it? Because as soon as you've tried doing something, you've broken that fear and that self-doubt that I can't do it. Even if you do fail, that first step of actually trying to do it is essential in taking the next one and actually moving forward and progressing as well.
So I'll tell you a funny story that made me change a lot about myself.
Yeah, share.
So in my second year of teaching back home at the primary school, I had grade 5s. And one of the boys, he was like, the troublemaker.
Yeah.
There's always one. Tiny little guy, but he was like also very aggressive, but he was so tiny that it's like, you can kind of work around it. And then I had like chats with him or whatever, but he's still like, he's got to be the man sort of vibes. And then I was head of the chess club, and he was outside the one day while we were all playing chess, and he's like, I also want to play chess. And I look at him like, you're going to come in here and mess with everyone, aren't you? And it's like, no, you're looking, like, you're thinking so negative of me or whatever. But, like, it was a lot of things that happened between us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so I was like, you know what? You are right. So I let him in. And turns out he's really good at chess.
Oh, excellent. Very nice.
This kid was really struggling at everything else, and like he came in, we taught him the things, calmed him down. Didn't fight with anyone. He played the game, and he played pretty well.
Awesome, man. Yeah. That's just, oh man, I love getting surprised by kids like that.
And that's my thing, is just try and be as open as possible and not not be an asshole.
Yeah. Mind the French there, but yeah, very true.
Yeah, I'm also trying to keep I'm South African, so I'm subconsciously, they're not swear words to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's something also I've noticed myself as a South African, is that living over here, you kind of learn to neutralize the way you talk, because the first 3 months you get here, you try to talk like a South African, and then no one understands you. And you have to translate everything you say again.
I laughed during a FaceTime with my mom and like some of the other family were in the background.
Yeah.
And I started speaking, they're like, no, you're not supposed to have an American accent.
Oh no, man. Yes, I get home and people are like, you're not South African anymore, you don't speak like that. But after 2-3 days,
class.
But yeah, no offense to accents, we're just to be honest, as South Africans, we grew up with so many different accents that we're used to changing as we talk to different people as well.
It's a crazy experience. I taught in Afrikaans for a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you speak Afrikaans?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine then. That's fine. I didn't learn Afrikaans. I learned Afrikaans at school, but then when I got to choose, I was like, I want to learn Zulu.
Nice. No.
Which was nice, man. I mean, growing up in Durban, there's not that many Afrikaans speakers.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying on uni to learn Xhosa.
Xhosa is a very nice language, man.
I sucked.
Yeah, how many clicks are in Xhosa again?
There's like 6 or 8 or something.
6 or 8 or something, yeah. Zulu's got 3 hard clicks and I'd say 2 soft ones. The DL and the HL, the SL and the TL.
God.
It was funny though, it was really cool, man, in Zulu lessons, trying to get your tongue to make these kind of
Nice.
sounds.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
for the Xhosa class that we had to do like some speaking or whatever.
Yeah,
And at the time, there was a Clip Drift ad where these guys are singing in the church choir, and they sing in Xhosa.
Yes, I remember.
So we just got that, and we sang that for class. And but
That's brilliant.
it's cool. Like the words aren't to do with alcohol. They're all about like my friends who have worked so hard. You know.
Oh, that's amazing, man. So right before we end off this, do you have any advice for anyone that wants to come and teach in Vietnam?
Man, teaching in Vietnam, I guess, speak slowly. Speak slowly.
Speak slowly.
Yeah, just I feel like as soon as you are willing to accept the culture into yourself and you become more part of that, it changes you. It makes you a little bit more fluid. You your teaching becomes a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's kind of situational in that sense. But it's a wonderful thing.
Would you agree with me if I say you get into more of a flow state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of you know what is expected. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But you develop as well with them. But like I said, it all comes down to if you're willing to have a back and forth, a rapport. If you've got,
yeah, definitely.
which
If you're interested, you should check out the podcast we did last week about flow state consciousness and education.
Yeah, I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. If you guys are interested, check it out as well. But yeah, Dylan, thank you very much for joining us. It was lovely to have you on Earth Key English's little live podcast tonight. Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment them in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Also, don't forget to give us a little thumbs up there and share this video so as many people as possible can get some free insights into what it's like teaching physics in Vietnam. Thank you very much, Dylan.
Thank you, my man.
Thank you very much, everyone that's watching. And
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Thanks, and goodbye.